Alrighty, everybody. Welcome into Gnosis Kingdom Maine. And today we're reading through Micah chapter 7. Micah chapter 7 is the last chapter of this book, so we'll be done with this book today. And then we'll start a new one tomorrow. So let's just get into it. Israel's misery. Chapter 7. What misery is mine? I am like the one who gathers summer fruit at the gleaning of the vineyard. There is no cluster of grapes to eat, none of the early figs that I crave. The faithful have been swept from the land. Sorry, my face itches. Not one upright person remains. Everyone lies in wait to shed blood. They hunt each other with nets. Both hands are skilled in doing evil. The ruler demands gifts. The judge accepts bribes. The powerful dictate what they desire. They all conspire together. The best of them is like a briar, the most upright worse than a thorn hedge. The day God visits you has come. The day of your watchmen. Sound the alarm. Now is the time of your confusion. Do not trust a neighbor. Do not put no confidence in a friend. Even with women who lies in your embrace, guard the words of your lips. For a son dishonors his father. A daughter rises up against her mother. A daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the members of his household. But as for me, I watch and hope for the Lord. I wait for God, my Savior. My God will hear me. So that's saying, put your faith into God. There's moments I struggle with that too, but the past few days I've been putting my faith into God, and I've been trying to avoid like, you know, any sort of like actions that are gonna, put me in a bad position. Cause like, you know, everybody's always like, the world's been coming down on me pretty hard the past like I'd say 2 weeks for some reason, and and what it's taught me is to keep putting my faith back into God. And every time you put your faith back into God, He builds you to be tougher. He not only builds you to be tougher, He builds you to be stronger. And and you know, that's something that you can't get anywhere else. Like, you can be taught that through people, but God is the best way to learn it because God will show you how much you can stand. And the past few days, my patience has been through the roof. So and I'm waiting for everything to just subside because it normally does. And then once it subsides, somebody's gonna do something again that's gonna really like try to get on my last nerve and stuff like that. And sometimes it gets really hard for me. It gets really hard for everybody. And the best way to deal with it is, probably just giving it to God, because I don't take things into my own hands. And my thing is if I bring something up, it's because there's something there that needs corrected. And if and maybe in the course of time it'll be corrected, but sometimes it will get to me and bother me, and sometimes it's hard for me to just let it subside and move on, because a lot of people will get away with a lot of stuff, and I'm sitting here suffering because of things that I see and stuff like that. So if I ever want some sort of correction, is because I've suffered far too much for people to just for me to just allow people to continue on like that. I've suffered, you know, and I know God's supposed to correct stuff, but sometimes it's just hard to sit there and let that correction hold off till that correction happens. And sometimes I want what's for the best to me, and sometimes I want the correction done. But sometimes I have to remember also to put my faith back in God and let God take care of it. Because, we live in a world where it's so bad right now that people are getting away with a lot of stuff that they shouldn't normally get away with. And, you know, all I really want is that correction to come a little bit faster so that way we're not all dealing with it. But anyway, let's just get back into it. Israel will rise. Do not gloat over me, my enemy. Though I have fallen, I will rise. Though I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light. Because I have sinned against him, I will bear the Lord's wrath, until he pleads my case, and my uphold cause, and upholds my cause. He will bring me out into the light. I will see his righteousness. Then my enemy will see it, and will be covered with shame. She who said to me, Where's the Lord your God? My eyes will see her downfall. Even now she will be trampled underfoot like a myrrh in the streets. The day for building your walls will come, the day for extending your boundaries. In that day people will come to you from Assyria and the cities of Egypt, even from Egypt to the Euphrates, from the sea to sea, from the mountain to mountain. The earth will become desolate because of the inhabitants, as the result of their deeds. So as you see here, um, you know, this is an example of what happens when God takes over stuff and corrects stuff. You see, as he said here, everything he's gonna do is a reference to how things actually go in real life. He basically says, these things are happening, so I have to go and, you know, things will be trampled underfoot and stuff like that. So it's just and he's like it's a result of their deeds. So all right, next one. Pray, prayer, and praise. Shepherd your people with your staff, the flock of your inheritance, which lives by itself in a forest, in fertile pasture lands. Let them feed in Bashan and Gilead, as in the days of long ago, as in the days when you come out of Egypt. I will show you my wonders. Nations will see me and be ashamed, deprived of all their power. They will put their hand over their mouths, and their ears will become deaf. They will lick dust like a snake, like creatures that crawl on the ground. They will come trembling out of their dens. They will run in fear to the Lord our God, and will be afraid of you. Who is a God like you, who pardons sin and forgives the transgression of the remnant of inheritance? You do not stay angry forever, but delight to show mercy. You will again have compassion on us. You will trade our sins underfoot and hurl our iniquities into the depths of the sea. You will be faithful to Jacob and show love to Abraham, as you pledge on oath to our ancestors in days long ago. So, um, he's going to again, he said, you need to show mercy to the people. I'll take care of everything, and that's the way it always goes. Is like God will take care of everything, and you show mercy to a person, and the person usually ends up like over the course of time, they end up having to learn. And for me, I always end up like getting punished by people. I never get punished by, I never really, I get punished by God, but I don't, but people are always the ones punishing me the most. It's always people. It's never actually God doing these punishments. Because sometimes people will deal with something that I think needs corrected. So I'll say something to somebody about it. It gets corrected, and then I'll deal with some more backlash and more bad behavior from people. And it just gets to the point where it's like, why do you keep playing as God? Why do you keep allowing yourself to play as, the Lord Himself? And so when you go and try to correct something, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. And all that backlash you have coming from people, people are going to see. People will always see if you're in the right or wrong by how you handle stuff and by how you take on these battles. A lot of people will always forever. There's people in Florida that will always forever see me as this person that doesn't know how to handle my fights. Or how, or like, when things get corrected, they don't like that about me because I know, the correction is coming from a place of, you know, um, knowledge and wisdom. That I'm like, well, is that fair to everybody else that that's going on? And when I do that, it's because that's the wisdom God gave me to know that that's a form of correct. When I go, when I have asked to have stuff, when I talk to somebody about something and bring it up, you know, I'm not intentionally trying to, make somebody's life harder or something like that. It's because I'm trying to make my life just as easy as everybody else's around me that's getting away with all this stuff. So if you ever see me, wanting some correction, it's because, you know, it's because I'm in a spot where, correction is always done, and people, I don't know, it's just really hard to say, but I try to follow the wisdom of God and Jesus Christ to make to make the world around me a better place for everybody, you know. And I always get trapped in these places I don't want sometimes and have to do things I don't want. And that's why you'll see me that's why you'll see me do things in a manner that might be disagreeable, but sometimes I do things in a manner because I feel like in some way I was treated unfairly and I have to deal with an unfair outcome so somebody else can have their like way for something. And it just gets entirely unfair at times, and I deal with a lot, and I give everything to God, trust me. But sometimes we as human beings, we have to speak up, we have to do things, and we have to bring upon some sort of correction, and then, if that doesn't work and it might escalate, I'll say my piece, but I won't take it any further than that. And it'll escalate, and sometimes people make a bigger mess of it than what it needs to be, and it's like, this is, you're trying to make sure things go your way or something like that, and things are not supposed to go your way. That's one thing I learned about in the Bible, and that's the one thing the Bible has taught me. Things don't go everybody's way. You know, if you wanna get to the top, you have to receive that punishment. You have to receive that punishment that put you there. It, I mean, looking back at it, you look at Joseph. He received a lot of punishment, but then eventually he came out on top. And that's the way you gotta look at it. You gotta look at like the things that happen in the Bible. You gotta take them and put them to real life things, because what you'll see that they'll play out in your life, and you'll feel, you know, there's gonna be a point in time coming up very soon where all this that's been happening to me lately is gonna lead me to a better position or a better spot or a better point in my life than it has been. And that's the one thing I don't like is like, people don't actually read the Bible or know that. So, every time I'm put in a bad position, I'll end up getting something great happen to me and then turn around, and then that great thing, somebody out there will get jealous about it and then try to pull that away from me because they think I didn't deserve it. And it's a never ending cycle with me. And that's something that yesterday you saw in my video, I don't get to have very much fun. And the little things I do, sometimes they get pulled from me. So, at some point in time, I will see the outcome of people doing that to me too. I'll see the reverse side effects of it. You just have to wait sometimes and see, but you sometimes see the reverse side effects of what people do to you if it's bad, and you see the side effects of what happened to you if you're doing good. And that's something I will say. So just remember, you know, God said it himself. I will I will bless those that bless you. I will curse those that curse you, and I will make you into a great nation. That's a bold statement that God himself said in the Bible, and it's pretty much the equivalent of what people like to call karma. I don't call it karma, I call it God, and I call it correction, and I call it putting things the way they should be. So, with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be seeing you next time. God bless you. Where is it? Can't see my mouse. Alright, God bless.